This is Anthony Kilner from Supernal Magazine and the Supernal Magazine Video Series, and I am interviewing the pretty amazing Jack Daniels. Jack, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me on the show, on the magazine. It's great fun.
Yeah.
The magazine.
It's good. It's I think it'll give readers a whole another view on illusion and magic. But before we get stuck into it, tell me a little bit about who is Jack Daniels.
Well, Jack Daniels is not the drink that you're thinking of. Jack Daniels is me, the illusionist. I'm a 37-year-old illusionist from Sydney. Been into the magic industry for the last just over 20 years now. Mm-hmm. And some people say, believe it or not, my magic is intoxicating.
Right. So, yeah, different to the drink.
Go figure that one out.
So intoxicating without alcohol, I reckon that's a
right.
Great thing. So you mentioned too that you started when you were about 14.
Correct.
And it was a good way for you to build up your confidence, your self-esteem. Just explain a little bit about how that worked.
Yeah. Well, as we said before for you, as a kid growing up, I was very shy, very low self-esteem. So when I discovered magic, it gave me the skill, the ability that I was able to do things that my friends around me couldn't do. So all of a sudden, I just felt really powerful that, wow, I can, I've got this knowledge, I've got this secret tool in my hands that I can literally walk up to a group of people, introduce myself and say, hey, do you want to see a magic trick or check this out? And from that moment on, people started to notice me at school. I was able to make friends. I was able to get on stage as a very young kid and perform a show in front of adults. And knowing that even the adults were amazed, it just made me feel really great about myself. So it just helped me throughout my life career. And as a child growing up, socializing, making friends, feeling like I belonged.
A good point. What's the difference between magic and illusion in your eyes?
In my eyes, magic, it depends on how you look at it. I mean, if you're looking at it from an entertainment perspective, a magician usually is someone who would be doing magic with or creating magic effects utilizing cards or the finger movements, producing doves, birds, all that stuff. An illusionist generally is the person who is more on the grand side of magic, where we work with the big props. It's the whole theatrical feel behind a performance, from dancers, cutting girls in half, making them levitate. That's the biggest difference. If you look at it from a different point of view, whether you call yourself a magician or an illusionist, neither one of us are really magicians. That we're not proper, we're not doing magic. It's an actor playing the role of a magician. So we're not really creating magic. We're just trying to move you through storytelling, make it look like what you're seeing is real, but in reality it's just an illusion.
Which is life, really, isn't it? I feel.
Yes, it is. Life is a big illusion at times.
So you mentioned levitation. I think out of all the things that I've seen in the past, levitation of people and objects and stuff is always fascinated me. Now, I'm not asking you to give away any secrets, but how do you find people respond to your table tilting and things like that?
Yeah, well, that table, that's a big part in the show, where it's all based upon a story of the great Lafayette. But a lot of times when we do that performance, the table flies in the air and we have an audience member assisting the levitation process. The way people react to it, unfortunately, with the current technology, they automatically assume that there's some guy behind the scenes with a remote control, some fans making the table fly, but it's just an actual table. So there's a lot of, it's a bit of a 50-50 how people view it. Some people really believe that it's actually based upon a spirit, because the whole storyline behind that table is the spirit of this magician that passed away now. And so the table is getting levitated due to the magician spirit. So some people believe that it is a ghost figure that's helping me do this stuff. Whereas some people also think that, it's some sort of a technological prop that's happening by itself. So we got a lot of mixed reviews with levitations.
Have you ever actually seen table tipping in real life?
Um, Not in real life. No, I've never physically experienced proper table tipping. No,
Right.
no.
I'll have to introduce you to a friend of Jason's called Shirley Sienna.
Right.
Yeah. So next time you come to Melbourne,
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
yeah, we could be.
That would be very interesting.
Um, Now, mind reading. This is another question that has been asked. Now, obviously, you do stuff with cards and other bits and pieces. Are
Yeah.
you mind reading? Are you looking into people's eyes, going, I can see what you've got in your eyes?
We create the illusion that we can.
Hmm.
Because once again, I don't really have any special magic ability. I can just convince you, make you think that I can do this stuff. So, um, when we're doing stuff where it'd be like close-up situations where it's close-up magic, or I'm trying to do something very intimate, yes, I will focus on the person's eyes and I'll try and zoom in, get their point of vision zoomed into, like, let's say right in between my fingers, for example, try and focus right there. So I create the, you might think that I'm actually trying to read your mind, but I'm just creating the illusion that I am, in order for me to achieve what I want to achieve.
Which, yeah, in many cases with some of the work I've seen of yours is very much astounding for people to actually look. I like the
Yeah.
one where you turn the $50 note into the $5
Oh,
note.
yeah, that's a
Did the
classic.
person want their $45 back?
Yeah, that's yeah, that's a classic. We generally we give it to them back midway through the show,
Mm.
or or we'll just, yeah, they'll get their money back eventually.
I like it. I
Yeah,
like it. Your relationship with David Copperfield is going to talk us into Project Magic, which is something you're involved in. But
yeah,
you've spoken previously about how David was a strong influence in you from an early age. Talk
yeah.
us through that a little bit.
Yeah. Look, I saw David Copperfield perform magic. It was his 15 years of magic special on TV back when I was around 14. This is during the time when magic really picked up for me, and I discovered it through this TV show. And what really got my interest watching David was just the way he moved. I mean, for me, I didn't really know what magic was until I saw him on during those TV specials. So, and I think this goes for a lot of magicians as well, illusionists. The way he moved on stage, the way the whole production of it all. It wasn't just him doing a trick for the hell of it or an effect. The dancers, the costuming, the lighting, the music, the choreography, and the chemistry that he had between him and his assistant. It really inspired me. It was something very different. And when I watched over the years, when I started to watch him more and more and more, I didn't really get to see him on stage. I rather saw what felt like I was watching myself into the future. So to me, it wasn't David Copperfield doing this stuff. It was actually me as a grown adult doing these amazing things. So I just felt like I had a really good, just a really good connection with what I was watching, because
Mm.
it's like literally, I just literally felt like I'm just watching myself. Someone showing me an image of myself for years to come down the track.
Yeah. So as you've mentioned, he was a big, I guess in a way, a role model for you to be in that space.
Yeah,
But he started a project called Project Magic, and you mentioned that was launched mid 90s, but then
yes,
fell away.
correct.
You've picked it up in about 2010, 11.
Yes,
Talk us through what it is to start with and where
yeah.
you see that going.
Basically, Project Magic, as you said, David Copperfield came up with the concept back in the 80s, in the early 80s. It's a program that uses magic as a form of therapy, where magicians and occupational therapists, magicians show occupational therapists set of magic effects, and then those skills, those techniques are applied to the patient's therapy process. And what that does in the long run is it basically conditions the patient to regain the dexterity, the hand-eye coordination improves, the memory skills improve. And it's basically, it's an addition to boosting the person's self-esteem and confidence through sleight of hand. It's been running in over, I think it was about 100 hospitals in over 30 countries. currently running at the Nepean Hospital in Sydney for the last 4 or 5 years now. It's just a really amazing program that we kind of are sharing some of the magic secrets for the better good of not just entertainment, but to help that person's, this person may not be able to hold a spoon to feed themselves, or they may not be able to tie their shoelace, for example. And yet they can still do something that an able-bodied person isn't able to do.
Mm-hmm.
So just
Love
knowing
it.
that, the person with a disability now has an enormous self-esteem, because here I am in a wheelchair, for example, and I can't do a number of things, but yet I can still do something that no one else around me can do. And it just helps them with their whole mindset. And it's a conditioning tool, like I said. So down the track, those skills are applied in, to dress themselves, or to pick up a pencil to write their name, or, feed themselves, and so forth.
Mm-hmm. And how is that funded?
It's basically, it's a not-for-profit organization. So the funding at the moment through Sydney, it's different from all places around the world, but for the time being, for the way we do it in Sydney is we try and do within the Nepean Hospital, we run shows every once in a while where all the profits, all the proceeds go to the Nepean Hospital's the Project Magic chapter, where that allows them to buy materials, to buy certain tricks. So it's basically the funding is all basically just for us, either donating money through shows or doing specific shows for it. We have started a Project Magic charity now as well.
Mm-hmm.
Projectmagic.org.au, I think the website was. So it's just through donations, really.
Okay, well, I'll organise to, when we do the story, to put that link in.
Oh, thank you.
To share that link. All right, so this is only a small interview based on the bigger interview that's in Supernal. And again, I want to say thank you for joining us.
No, thank you.